The hardest thing about cooking isn't the cutting. It isn't the standing over the stove. It's figuring out what to cook. How do you make something tasty without cooking the same 5 dishes over and over again? If you need some new food inspiration, you'll love the Date with a Dish inspired recipes you're about to see in this video. Pair this kind of food with good wine, and what you have is a family meal.
Happy Sunday. And thanks again. Yeah.
Welcome to the June 2020 episode of Family Meal. It's a virtual wine tasting party, y'all. Each month, I show you how to prepare a delectable feast with wine pairings. Then you get to watch as my friends tell me what they think about it all.
So good. And the hominy salad.
That's very good. All that fat in there. Not tasted in this.
This month, there will be 7 eaters enjoying recipes that are inspired by a cookbook that represents a culinary first. The first cookbook written by a Black person for Black people. As you know, if you've watched before, Family Meal is about exploring food from different places and different times to understand how people make awesome food for the time and place they live in. Last month, we looked at Edna Lewis's 1986 cookbook, The Taste of Country Cooking. This cookbook/memoir hybrid is about the food she ate growing up in rural Virginia. Edna Lewis was a champion of farm-to-table cuisine in the 1950s, 20 years before the movement gained mainstream appeal. Based on her recipes, I pushed myself to cook duck and fresh peach pie, and the flavor was worth it. That episode includes 5 dishes and included 7 wine pairings. If you want to see it, click here or look below for the link. In this episode, we're riffing on recipes from Freda DeKnight's 1973 cookbook, Date with a Dish. Freda was the first food editor at Ebony magazine. At the time, Ebony magazine was one of the premier taste-making publications for Black folks, and the version I have of her book was actually marketed as the Ebony Cookbook. Although DeKnight was a great cook, she's better known for the culinary research she did while collecting recipes from across America and beyond. Her cookbook reflects the breadth of Black cooking in America. It shows how Black people made French, Spanish, West Indian, Chinese, African, Dutch, and German dishes their own. Anytime you eat an Italian dish with tomato, that's Italian people making an American food their own. Anytime you eat noodles at a Japanese restaurant, that's Japanese people making a Chinese food their own. If something is yummy, people will integrate it into their own cuisines. The recipe in this cookbook are doing the same thing. Anybody who can show you how to combine food in new ways is someone worth learning more about. But don't take my word for it. Make these dishes yourself and tell me what you think. Comment, like, and subscribe so I can see if these recipes resonate with you too. And make sure you hit the bell so you'll be notified of all of Winosity's future videos. Ready to hear what's on the menu this month? Let's get into it. This month we're starting off with seafood, a lobster scrapple that we're frying up to get crisp just before serving. This is what you get if meatloaf, pickle loaf, and lobster mousse had a baby. That's what happens when sherry is involved, in a recipe that is, and there is sherry, 2 ounces to be exact. I'm serving the scrapple with a dry cava. I think it should pair well with seafood. And in general, bubbly is great with crispy and oily things. For the next course, I'm serving 2 different torrontés, both from around Mendoza, Argentina. This kind of wine will be great with a warm bowl of peanut soup in my opinion. If you're familiar with groundnut stew, this is similar. Both are peanut stews or soups with the base of chicken stock and peanuts, but I'm using sweet potato and spinach instead of pulled chicken, so that it's just a bit lighter. The main event this month is grilled trout and a warm hominy salad. It's hot here now, in the low 100s, so I want something filling but not too heavy. A smoky piece of oily trout fits that bill. Then there's a warm and creamy salad on the side. Corn salad is perfect on a hot summer day, and that's what hominy is, a kind of corn with bigger kernels. If you've ever had grits, you've had hominy. Grits are just ground up hominy. I've added some summery seasonings so that this salad is a bright accompaniment next to the fish. These 2 dishes will be served with a white and a red wine, an unfiltered Sauvignon Blanc, and a Cannonau. To finish off the afternoon, we have a sour milk chocolate cake with nuts and ginger. You know that tang you get from cheesecake? Imagine that flavor in a chocolate cake. That's what this dish is, plus some ginger and nuts. It'll be paired with 2 raisiny flavored fortified wines. Do some of these dishes and pairings seem crazy to you? Well, they seem crazy to me too, but that's what I was going for. A menu that's crazy enough to be uniquely good. Now the question is whether I went too far. Let's see what my friends think. Let's get into the recipes and the tastings. Okay, you might be thinking, lobster meatloaf? What a waste. But don't worry, I'm not hacking up a fresh Maine lobster tail. This is canned lobster that I'm turning into something delicious, and it's quite easy. First, open the cans of lobster and drain them. Next, chop the bread, pickles, onions, and lobster in the food processor until chunky. Now add the rest of the ingredients, the mustard, milk, egg, chopped tarragon, melted butter, and spices, and combine it all together. Place all of the ingredients into a lined mold, such as a loaf pan or tureen. Chill the tureen until it sets, about 1 hour. After you have a firm loaf, cut the desired number of slices. We're going for at least 7 slices here. Preheat your skillet just until you see some smoke. I always use cast iron, but steel works too. Then you can cook the slices for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. You don't need to add oil to the pan because there's butter throughout the slices already. When you flip onto the other side, you should see that it's getting nice and brown. But if you're not happy with the brownness, you can always revisit a side. And that's it. Serve the scrapple hot out of the pan. You can also serve it as a main dish for breakfast. Just add a fried egg and some fried potatoes. Or put a slice on top of an English muffin with egg, spinach, and hollandaise. Or even cut the slice into strips, pop them into a tortilla, and cover it with your favorite salsa, sour cream, and cilantro. It's really quite a versatile dish. Today we're serving it with some crackers, so you can get a little bit on each cracker like an hors d'oeuvre, with a few fresh herbs on top. Don't these look perfect for a wine tasting party, a brunch, or even a cocktail party? I've paired this dish with a dry white cava from Spain. This kind of wine hails from the wine region around Barcelona, in the northeast of the country. I think the bright citrus and mineral flavors of this wine go so well with food that tastes like the sea. In the same way you probably put lemon on fish, you can pair this acidic and citrusy wine with fish and seafood. And the acid and citrus flavors also complement the oily fry we put on the scrapple. It cuts right through that fat. I think it'll be a nice combination, but what does the eating panel have to say?
Oh my gosh, these are so good. Yeah, this lobster scrapple is amazing.
Oh my God.
Canned lobster.
This is great with the cracker.
This is really good.
Thank you.
It's delish. It is a very good combination.
Yes.
Well, what do you know? They really liked it. I know it's 100 degrees outside, but I think you can always eat a warm and centering bowl of soup, especially if it's a light soup. That's what's on the menu next. While this recipe is based on Freda's, I'm confident she was riffing on groundnut stew, a dish common throughout West Africa. The main ingredients in groundnut stew are chicken, peanut butter, and ginger. I'll be using pureed peanuts and chicken stock instead of peanut butter and chicken meat. I want this dish to be lighter since it's hot and because we have more food coming in this wine pairing feast. It's going to be a wonderfully light and herbaceous soup topped with appetizing looking garnishes. I'll start by pureeing some chicken stock and peanuts with ginger, pepper, and cumin. Add the remaining puree to the stock. This is the base of the soup. I'll bring that to a simmer and melt in some butter. Once that's melted in, you can add the sweet potatoes. These have been cooked in salted water. You want them to be firm enough to keep their shape, but tender enough to chew easily. And there's a bit of spinach for color and flavor as well. Now it's time to put it all together. Ladle some soup into the bowl. Put a few chunks of sweet potato and steaming spinach. Those are the main accompaniments to this dish, but wait, there's more. We're going to add some garnishes. We have some chopped tomato and onion, sliced ginger, mint, and crushed peanuts. I love a soup that has lots of goodies on top of it, don't you? I've paired this soup with a knock your socks off white wine, torrontés. It's more like smelling a live flower than like smelling a white wine. No, really, you have to try this wine if you haven't. There's hints of jasmine and peaches and citrus. I think it'll be great with a soup that has ginger, onions, and peanuts. People often pair this wine with Asian food, and those flavors are often found in Asian food, ginger, onions, and peanuts, right? Both wines are from around Mendoza, Argentina, a region known for producing great examples of torrontés. Let's see which bottle they like best and which one they think is the best with the food. I think it might be a match, but I might be outvoted. Let's see.
This soup is incredible.
Oh, thanks.
Really. And I'm a big soup fanatic. Okay, so the Maipa torrontés is very smooth, almost buttery.
Okay. Excuse me.
The other one is a little crisper. The Creoles is my favorite out of the two.
This soup is so good. Oh my gosh.
Sure.
Wow. I agree with you, Bill. I think this one, the Creoles, is a little more floral, a little smoother on the palate, a little smoother mouthfeel to it, I think.
Well, I think I have some torrontés converts on my hands, and I can't say I blame them. Summer and grilling go hand in hand. It's a tasty way to cook without heating up the house and while getting some fresh air. It's a win-win. Instead of hamburgers and hot dogs or ribs, I'm grilling fish. It's light enough for a hot summer day, but will have that slight smoky and grilled taste you crave in the summer. I'm starting with trout fillets, but a whole fish looks extra tasty on a platter with garnish too. But whether or not you're using whole or fillets, a marinade is important. I'm creating a marinade of lemon juice, lime juice, garlic, tomato sauce, tarragon, and onion, and some salt and pepper. I'll start by marinating the fish for about an hour. Once the fish is marinated, grill at 550 degrees on each side for about 6 minutes until the fish is flaky. Now that the fish is cooked, it just needs to be garnished. You can place the fillets on a platter. I'm just going to arrange these lemon and lime slices so that each piece gets some. And then we're done. I think that's grilling at its best. But it needs a side dish. I'm making a corn salad because it's a summer food for me. Stopping at a roadside U-Pick stand for fresh corn on hot weekends is one of my fondest childhood memories. Normally we just boil the corn, salt it, butter it, and eat it. Simple and good. Today I'm making a corn salad fit for a wine tasting party. It's a warm hominy salad with peaches, basil, and feta cheese. I'm not a chef, but I still like to get everything together first. That way I don't have to stop midway through a dish to chop something up or pull an ingredient from the back of the pantry. I can just cook. So I have everything diced. The onions, peppers, peaches, and the basil, very finely chopped. And there's chunked up feta cheese. Those are the accompaniments to the hominy. Okay, this is top secret. This is hominy from a can, but who cares if you can make it taste good? Now that the excess water has drained away, I'm heating the hominy in the microwave until it's just warm. Then I can mix everything up. In goes the peppers, onions, and peaches. Let's dress this salad up a bit. Put this out in a nice bowl and top it with the cheese and the remaining basil. This dish might be the first to go at a summer picnic. Sometimes you pick wines because you want to compare the wines to each other. At other times you pick wines because you want to see how well a wine pairs with food. This wine pairing is of the latter sort. I want to see which wine is better with this grilled fish and salad course. This course is grilled, so there's some smokiness. Also, trout is an oily fish, but it's still fish. I wanted something to match the middle ground I'm playing with in this course, so I picked two very different styles of wine, an unfiltered and unfined Sauvignon Blanc, and a Cannonau di Sardegna. Sauv Blanc is known for its grassy and citrusy flavors. I'm expecting these flavors to be even stronger in an unfiltered wine that still has some fine yeast cells and grape bits in it. Most wines filter all of that out, but if you leave it in, it continues to flavor the wine, making a more intense version of what you're used to. This Sauvignon Blanc is a more intense version of a wine you might normally pair with fish. Then we have a Cannonau, which is a Grenache from Sardinia in Italy. I saw fatty grilled fish paired with Cannonau in books decades old. It's clearly a classic pairing. And if there's any red wine you can pair with fish, it's perhaps Grenache. It's light and fresh with high acid and bright red fruit flavors, like cherry. It's also got low tannin, so it's not very drying in the mouth or very bitter. This kind of wine would stand up better to the grilled and smoky character of the oily trout without overwhelming it. But I won't be sure until I try it, so let's see what happens.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
The color. What is on this that gives it the color?
It's lemon juice, lime juice, tomato paste, and garlic, and some onions.
So good. It's a good piece of trout. I think both wines go well with it.
Do you?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Why not, right? And the hominy salad.
That's very good. All that fat in there. Not tasted in Jesus. It's a nice compliment to the trout.
Thanks. Wow, that was fun. Sometimes it pays to try something that seems a bit out of the box. Chocolate cake is our sweet finish this month, but this isn't just any chocolate cake. It's sour milk chocolate cake with ginger and almonds. This should be a tangy, nutty, spicy, and chocolatey cake, not at all your generic chic chocolate cake. It's definitely got a point of view, perhaps several. At the same time, it's not overly fussy or complicated to make. You'll see. First, dissolve baking soda into sour milk or buttermilk. It's gonna froth a bit. That will help it rise. So will the egg whites, and the baking soda we'll add later. Add the vanilla to the milk to get that flavor infused, and a bit of almond extract. Sift the remaining dry ingredients together and add the almonds and ginger to get them coated. Then combine the wet and dry ingredients. Beat the egg whites to stiff peaks. Fold the egg whites into the mixture. Now it's ready to bake. It only needs 30 minutes at 350 degrees. I have a cake pan and I'm smearing it with butter, then a little flour so that it doesn't stick. Then the batter goes into the pan. Here's what it looks like when it's done. I can put a toothpick in it and it comes out clean. If you want to frost this cake, you'll need to wait until it's cool, but I'm going to pretty it up a different way, a simpler way. I've got some powdered sugar and more almonds. I can use these to create a nice decoration for the cake. And oh yeah, the eaters are getting a ginger sauce with this cake. This cake is better with a sauce. You can see the recipe for the sauce on winosity.com. How's that look? I have 2 sweet wines to go with this cake. I have a fortified, oxidized, and aromatized ginger wine from England, and a fortified and oxidized sherry from Spain. Both are sweet and rich. It's probably clear how the ginger wine works with this dish. The wine and the cake share the same flavor, but I'll admit that when I first heard about this wine, I was skeptical. But the recipe for this wine has been around since the 18th century. Another thing I like about this wine is that it uses raisins in the winemaking. One of my other favorite wines, Amarone, also does. So I thought, let's give this ginger wine a try. As for the sherry, it has a nutty flavor that I'm hoping matches the flavor of the almonds. These 2 wines could be delightful with the cake, or a disaster. We'll just have to see.
It smells a little smoky to me. I don't know why.
The ginger one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It tastes a bit like a flat ginger ale.
Yeah.
It's very sweet, but
But it's delicious.
It's not as strong tasting as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was saying the same thing.
It's really
I thought
nice.
it would be a heavier.
Oh my gosh, this cake is so good.
Thank you.
With this in the sauce, it's the perfect complement.
Who knew that aromatized wines could be so good? So, there you have it. I made 5 dishes inspired by Freda DeKnight's 1973 cookbook, Date with a Dish. I made lobster scrapple, peanut soup with sweet potato and spinach, grilled trout, hominy salad, and sour milk chocolate cake with nuts and ginger. In the beginning of this video, I said that coming up with new dishes to cook is the hard part. A blank page is a very hard place to start from. It's hard to come up with new dishes unless you have some good dishes to start with. That's what Freda is offering us here, some good starting points. I revised this menu perhaps 5 times before I settled on the dishes you saw, but it was more like fitting together the pieces of a puzzle rather than making a puzzle. A much more fun task, and one that I could be successful at, and you too. DeKnight was a culinary pioneer who can teach us so much about pulling together tasty dishes by integrating food traditions from across the country and the world. It's not fancy food, it's approachable, yet innovative. The kind of recipes that can really sink my teeth into. I don't know about you, but I take advantage of every opportunity I get to create something I've never eaten before. I find it inspiring to create new dishes by building on things I've cooked in the past and from food other people have cooked for me. That's what got me excited about using these recipes for this virtual wine tasting party. I use these recipes as a launching point to create dishes that were new to me. In the same way Freda was encouraging home cooks to try new food ideas, I took her idea one step further and incorporated ideas I picked up along the way too. During the meal, one person said this was the best soup they've ever eaten in their life. It doesn't get any better than that. And paired with fruity and floral torrontés, the soup course was beyond delicious. But the grilled fish with cannonau was also a standout. There's a reason why this is a classic pairing. You should definitely try it. Yes, fish and red wine can go together. So, that was episode 4 of Family Meal and our wine pairings. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell to get notified about upcoming episodes. And don't forget to share Family Meal with your friends. If you want these recipes, you can find them on the blog at winosity.com, where you'll find other food and wine pairings. You'll also find the Winosity app there, where you can keep track of the good wines you discover out in the world and get wine recommendations based on your preferences. And I hope you'll join us in late July for the next episode. I'll be cooking recipes from Milton Williams' 1981 cookbook, The Party Book. If you hadn't guessed, this book is about how to throw a fabulous party. Milton was the caterer in Hollywood in the 70s and the 80s. He planned the kinds of parties that cost $400,000 in 1970s money. That will be over $2 million today. But don't get scared, this book is about how you can entertain at home. The first chapter of the book is called Stop Being Afraid to Have a Party. So you can do it, and I can too. Thanks for watching, folks. Bye.